Welcome to the series. This is another video in my Classics in Warhammer video series where I look at the historical roots or inspiration upon Warhammer lore. And this week has seen the release of the Triumvirate of the Imperium, which is composed of three beautiful models. One, of course, is Saint Celestine. The other is Inquisitor Greyfax, and the third is Belisarius Cawl. In case you're interested, the root for Saint Celestine is a Latin word called Caelestis, which basically means sky or the heavens. In the context of a religious context, it would definitely be kind of used as an adjective to mean something that is heavenly. And a number of popes throughout history have taken that name. Belisarius is the name of a Byzantine general that was tasked under Justinian to reconquer parts of the Western Roman Empire. I think that these are absolutely beautiful models. I really love that they're packaged as a single entity, as for the sake of, saying that these are the Triumvirate of the Imperium. And I really want to focus on the meaning of Triumvirate in this video and talk about its historical significance and see if some of the characteristics of the classical Roman triumvirates can be applied in this case. So, a number of derivatives of triumvirate can be found in many different modern languages, but it has its origin first in Latin. So the most common definition of a triumvirate is simply a group or association of three, especially three statesmen. Now, linguistically, it's composed of a few different elements. It's really a compound word. So what composes of a triumvirate are three triumvirs. And we get the word in the prefix for trium or tres, basically means three. In the case of trium, it's in the genitive or possessive case, and then ver, which is a very important component in that the word for ver in Latin basically means man. So the meaning of triumvirate is inherently a group of three men, as the language is inherently masculine. So when I saw the release from Games Workshop, I had kind of a brief chuckle because it's being applied to two women and presumably a genderless Magos. I've no clue what a call would really identify with. I'm certainly not trying to make a political statement. I just think it's an amusing application. So let's look at the characteristics of a Roman triumvirate and see if it can be applied to 40K's new heroes. There were numerous different triumviri in Roman society that were tasked with different administrative goals or responsibilities. But the term triumvirate has historical significance, and you can even see it in Warhammer now, because of two important alliances during the later half of the Roman Republic. The first so-called triumvirate was an informal political alliance of Julius Caesar, Pompeius Magnus or Pompey the Great, and Marcus Crassus. The arrangement had no legal status, and its purpose was to consolidate the political power of the three so that they could stand against the elite of the Roman society. Because they represented different factions within Roman society, they essentially could maintain and protect each other very effectively. But Crassus died in a campaign against the Parthian Empire, and although Caesar and Pompey tried to maintain their alliance at first, it was kind of inevitable that they would be at war, and within a few years, that's exactly what happened. The second triumvirate was recognized as a very legitimate organization, and this was composed of Octavian Caesar, who's the heir to Julius Caesar, Mark Antony, and Marcus Aemilius Lepidus. Lepidus was pushed to the side early in the Triumvirate, and Antony was eliminated in outright war between Octavian, which left Octavian being really the only de facto leader within the Roman Republic, and he essentially becomes the first Roman emperor. So I would say that there are four primary characteristics of the Roman triumvirates. And first is that it's an alliance of political expediency. Um, and I could kind of see this being the case even in the triumvirate of the Imperium, where you have three different factions being represented. They're all definitely part of the Imperium of Man, but you could definitely see where the Inquisition or the Adeptus Mechanicus could have their own agenda apart from the other two. And that although they're against a common foe, they might have their own, their own goals. I would say that the Triumvirate um, basically can be formal or informal. And although on paper they're supposed to be equal, in reality, this is not really the case. Uh, it's not to be too unfair to Crassus and Lepidus, but history has not been too kind to really their role in the triumvirates. They're really just like an extra component, definitely useful at the time, definitely required, but also very much a third wheel. Um, I would say that there are basically two primary rivals, with a third player whose historical significance is therefore downplayed. I don't know if this is going to be the case in the Triumvirate of the Imperium, but you never know. We'll see how the narrative plays out. And then the final characteristic is the youngest member, and this is probably just purely by coincidence, seems to eliminate the other two. So in both cases, Julius Caesar and Octavian Caesar end up eliminating the other two. Uh, so if the younger member of the Triumvirate of the Imperium is to be the one with the remaining power after the war and battle's been finished, probably not going to be good for old Call, as he's 10,000 years old. um, so I have no idea how the narratives will play out, but it'll be interesting to see if these characteristics do have some sort of relevance in the Triumvirate of the Imperium. On one final note, early rumors in AOS hinted that there would be a Triumvirate for the Skaven, and I would certainly love to see that happen. So hopefully you enjoyed my just brief look at the Triumvirate, and you'll kind of have a little bit better understanding of how that's being used in Warhammer. Thanks for listening, and have a good one.